Ja Morant's back in the headlines.
Yes, he is.
According to Tim McMahon at ESPN.
He's very much the victim here.
He
the
is
old Ja Morant playing the victim card.
He's telling those around him and those that will listen that he feels like the NBA is out to get him and people that associate with him. This is, and including the media, out to get him as well. This following the 25-game suspension where for a second time he's seen flaunting a weapon, a handgun, on Instagram Live. Ja Morant, if this report is accurate, and I have no reason not to believe that based on the trend that Morant has been on here, the only person out to get Ja Morant is Ja Morant at this point. The NBA certainly is not out to get him. They are out to send a message to him, and they did so in a different way this go-around than the 8-game suspension. If the NBA was out to get him, they would have followed what I would have done, which is suspend him indefinitely until he proves that he is willing to do things the right way based on the way the NBA and its players conduct themselves. That's number one. Number two, they're not out to get Ja Morant, Chad. They're out to save Ja Morant, out to help him save his career and potentially save his life. The other factor that allows me to say that they certainly aren't out to get him and looking for reasons is the fact that practically no one across the league they're not pissed off at the suspension length. They understand that this is necessary based on the trends that we've seen. The way I view all of this, they went light on the 25 games, mainly because of the way the rule is written, and the fact that they're only citing in the statement from Adam Silver, the commissioner, last week. They're only citing the previous gun incident in Denver within this suspension and comparing the two. And certainly you have to take into account all of the things that have gone on and that have been reported over the last year plus. But had this taken place again on NBA property, meaning team property, road trip, facility, anywhere else but in a vehicle with his friend, I think the penalty is much, much different and harsher than what it ended up being. If anything, they went light on the suspension. But as I pointed out on a Fox News rundown this morning, the suspension starts now for Morant. This is not just 25 games. It's 25 games financially, which is $7.6 million that he's not going to receive on the new deal that goes into effect this upcoming season. But the suspension for which he has to prove that he's getting back into the league by the middle of December starts now because he didn't make it 2 months since the 8-game suspension before this popped up again. And that's why they punish him now because, yeah, they are keeping an eye on him, just like everyone else. But I don't feel like the media or the league itself is out to get Ja Morant. If anyone is out to get him, it's him and those that associate and insulate themselves with him. And here's hoping he actually gets the message. Based on this comment, certainly not. He's listening to those around him yet again.
The comedian Ron White in 2006 had a stand-up special titled "You Can't Fix Stupid." And Ja Morant, to me, just continues to show himself to be really stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you can fix stupid. I don't know there's a cure for that overnight. There's not a pill you can take to not be stupid. And Ja Morant, if in fact this report from ESPN is true about what him and his camp are saying, they're just really, really stupid. It was stupid to get in the problems he's been into before. It was stupid to flash a gun in a strip club on Instagram Live. Then it was really dumb to do it just a few weeks later after you were suspended for 8 games. And now he's going to play the victim card and act like it's the NBA's fault and the NBA's out to get him and everyone else is out to get him. The media reporting on these stories is out to get him. The Memphis media has his back. They've defended him for the most part. But this is a Ja Morant problem, and he just appears to be really, really stupid. And he's got to get smarter. I don't know that there's some magic formula to make that happen, but he's got to make better decisions. And it starts with accepting the fact that he is, in fact, stupid. And if he can acknowledge that point and say, you know what, I've been really stupid, then maybe he can fix things and have a nice long career in the NBA because his talent is unquestioned. Unquestioned. This guy has limitless potential, and he is ruining it right now. And now he's got a 25-game suspension and some parameters to meet through the league to get things right and get back to playing under a supermax contract and making a ton of money and being the superstar that everyone thought he was at the start of his NBA career. It's all still in front of him for Ja Morant. Nothing is ultimately lost other than the money he's cost himself right now. He can fix this. He can remedy these problems. He can make better decisions, and he can go on to a great career. But it starts by not being stupid.
Well, and what we don't know is how much he's cost himself with endorsements and other things that have been put on pause, at least to this point. But look, it's
But
not.
I don't know that anyone's fully kicked him to the curb yet, which is good for him. They've put some things on pause, but he's still got a Nike deal. He still has the Powerade deal. They just stopped paying him for the time being.
Well, the Powerade never actually launched it.
Yeah.
Nike's still selling his shoes.
Point being, we've seen other scandals where guys were immediately kicked to the curb completely.
Yeah, and that's fair too. So I don't think anyone's giving up on Ja Morant. The other thing, it's now about it is no longer about words with Ja Morant. Either with this report that he's saying this behind the scenes, or any statement he's releasing. It's no longer about words; it's about actions. So, last week he can release a statement that's written by a PR staff, written by him, written by ChatGPT again, whatever it ends up being. And he's talking about, I'm going to get better and I'm going to work on my own mental health and decision making. And Tim McMahon is then saying this through ESPN that, well, he's actually pointing the finger back at the NBA, saying they're out to get him. No, it's now on Ja Morant, and it has been. And the NBA isn't going to sit around and act like he was diagnosed with some terminal illness like they did 2-3 months ago compared to what is going on now. And they're not going to fall in line and say, oh, it was a fake gun. It was a toy gun. No, it's now about actions. And who he associates himself with, yeah, they've also, they're in the crosshairs too because they're contributing to what has caused all of this. But ultimately, it's back on Ja, and he's got to know that. And the people around him are chirping that it's not on him because he's funding the party. Right?
Yeah,
they helped him get there.
The people around him are a big part of the problem.
Yeah, and then it's just very unfortunate how things are turning out. And here's hoping that everything stays quiet. That's what's best in his interest now, is just lay low until December and come back and be ready to play and be about ball and not about whatever the social media. It's a character. We never heard about this when he was at Murray State in college. This was not the Ja Morant that Chad and I would follow and watch come through Nashville and play in the OVC. It's a very different storyline now and a script.
Yeah, he's listening to a lot of his favorite rap music, and he feels like he's a character in a rap music video, and it's not really who he is. And that's the way he's behaving in his life. It's like he's constantly in a rap video. And that's what people around him have said, that he's way too caught up in all of that, and it's become a big problem.